That in spite of what the APC might have said, we have been told that, security agencies have moved in already. The new IG did confirm that his men moved in a week earlier. We understand that soldiers have also been deployed to Ekiti. There was also a show of force by the SSS only very recently as well. But moving to the agenda of these political parties, what would you say the issues are in Osun State?
Honestly, remember from my own analysis, and you and I know, that the political parties, actually the dominant political parties, want to make a point. And that point is whether they're actually in control, who is actually in control of these states, and who actually is going to win the election. Remember also that this state is a state that actually one of the parties won the election via the courts, and not actually through the ballot box, as people would say. And so there is that tension now to actually demonstrate to the Nigerian public and to the general world who actually won the election. Was the election actually won by the dominant party in the center, or was that election actually won really by the opposition party? And so I think from my own analysis and perception of what I see happening is that there is that need by this contending political interests to demonstrate the fact that they are actually in control. And in doing that, that actually creates some level of tension. But I think that what also is also very, very important, there is the need also to demonstrate the acceptability. That's what they want to show. The acceptability of the political parties, and the acceptability of the political parties also has an implication, or is directly related also to the programs of the party. Are the party programs people-oriented? Do people actually see the party addressing the fundamental needs of change and development in that state? These are the issues that I think that will come to play. And both parties are mobilizing. Given also what has happened in Ekiti State, there is that tendency here also to demonstrate really that what has happened in Ekiti State can also be replicated here, or that the reverse may be the case. And so these are the issues that I see here in this election, and that is what both parties are struggling actually to make sure that they make a case. It is a voice, it is a statement. If the APC wins that election, what that will mean is that what happened in the Ekiti State may not be the real situation. If the PDP wins the election in Osun State, that demonstrates the fact that whatever has happened in Ekiti State is actually the real thing. But you see, my cause for concern is that what we have seen is that there are instances Nigerians and politicians need to accept the result of an election. For instance, under our own eyes, watchful eyes, an election was conducted in 2012 or so in Edo State. And the then ACN, because of who Oshomelu is, because of the people believe in his ability to deliver, won the election. And it was very, very clear. PDP lost in that state, which was a statement by the citizens of Edo State, and it was accepted. Now we have also seen that it will also happen in Adamawa State. We have also seen that it happened also in Anambra State, where APGA also have demonstrated that the people in that state, Anambra State, accepted them, and the result of that election was accepted. And so what we're saying is that, my own argument is that if in these states, in Ondo state, it has also happened, the Labour Party has also won. So I think that people should be, as citizens, we should be able to accept the verdict of the people. What is important for me in democracy is that when the people have spoken, as politicians, as citizens, we need to accept that. That is what democratic culture is about. Now, if it does not favor you, then heaven will fall. Heaven will let loose. I think that has been the crisis of our democracy in our country, right from the early years of independence, where election has always generated violence and oftentimes become a basis for the military to actually intervene in Nigerian politics. So our politicians need actually to have and develop that culture of tolerance, and to make sure that the voice of the people, when they have spoken, need to be accepted. After all, who are they yearning to serve if really what the issues are is to serve the people? So when the people have spoken, you need to accept the voice of the people. That is what democracy is about.
But before then, I mean, there's also fears, concerns raised by, say, the APC now about the presence of security officials. They say, number one, it's too much, it's over-militarized, and some of them have used that word. Do you think that those fears are actually genuine, because they think that, look, if you use too much of them, something could go wrong?
Honestly, I will think differently as a sociologist. I will think differently, and also drawing also from our own historical experience, political historical experience in this country, particularly in the conduct of elections. Now, the military, I have had opportunity in Port Harcourt, in River State, actually to observe an election, where I see that even in our military, in our security forces, we have gentlemen security officers. Not all of them are bad. Where they were observing from a distance what was happening at the polling units, and that unit was St. Mary's. It was the coalition center. And where, as a civil society person, I was leading that process to observe the election and what was happening. And what they were doing was just be vigilant, making sure that things happen correctly. Now, let me say that I do not see it as over-securitization of the process. What will it mean? What's the cost if a citizen dies in an election? Countries have gone to war that one or two of its citizens, are missing or are suspected to have been killed by people from another country. Countries go to war. Those are countries that have regard for human life. Those are countries that have regard for whatever life means. So if in our own country, given our own kind of experience, our historical experience in terms of conduct of election, and you deploy security officers, it is only giving a guarantee to the citizens. Come out and cast your votes. Nobody is going to intimidate you. Nobody is going to harass you. And it shouldn't also be only during the elections. That kind of security presence needs to be sustained 1 week, 2 weeks after the elections, so that we don't see violence erupting. So that it should be a guarantee to the citizens that, look, come, it has happened before, and come and vote and nothing. Nobody is going to humiliate you. Nobody is going to intimidate you. I think that nothing will be too much in terms of security presence to make sure that the election is free and fair and devoid of violence. Also remember that our country has a pending security challenge. We are battling insurgency, the Boko Haram insurgency, and other forms of violence. And so whatever we can do as a country to minimize the loss of lives, to minimize this crisis of insecurity in our country, I give my support. And I think that every peace-loving Nigerian needs to give support, irrespective of what political platform or what political party, whatever religious or any kind of affiliation you have. The peace, progress, and good conduct of citizens needs to be our watchword. So to that extent, I don't think anything is wrong.
The president on that day, when he went to Osun, there are those who are interpreting it differently now. They are saying, look, well, yeah, his tone saying they will deal decisively with anyone who maybe some people just thought he could have mellowed a little bit on his tone about that, remembering that he is the president. Yes, he's a member of the PDP, but as the president, he should have tampered that comment with some sort of on a lower tone.
Well, I think it's a subject of interpretation, but I'm not the president. I cannot speak for the president. But given the kind of statements that have emanating, from both sides, both political parties, one group alleging that the other group had actually sewn uniforms, and these uniforms are going to be distributed to persons who will wear this uniform masquerading or posing as security agents. There is also another complaint from another part that, look, people have been, already there are rules and processes, to disenfranchise persons. Some people cannot, have access to their voters' card because of the kind of political parties they belong to. Remember that in the Ekiti State election, there was also the allegation that I don't know how Professor Tahiri Jiga and his team would have developed that kind of voters' card, that voters' ballot paper, that if you thumbprint a political party, it can change when you put that in the box. And so these are tensions, these are issues that are emanating, from our politicians, which raises tension. And of course, given also what has happened in the past, and for me, I'm concerned about young Nigerians who are coppers, who are going to take part in this election, remembering also that some of their colleagues, were also murdered under very terrible circumstances because they are serving their country. So if you ask me, my own understanding of what the president is saying is that, look, that kind of situation cannot happen again. At the moment, the National Youth Service Scheme is being threatened by, this kind of insurgency, people getting afraid to go to serve in one part of the country. Parents say, you can't go and serve. And those who have already, are already serving, then you have another challenge again. This challenge, this time, being deriving from, their use in the electoral processes. So if there is anything government can do to make sure that elections do not degenerate to that level, to that state, where you see, young Nigerians being killed, where you see citizens being attacked by either sides. So I think that we need to take necessary precaution and to make sure that we have that respect. After all, it's the responsibility of government to protect lives and properties of the citizens. And whatever government can do to protect life and properties of citizens and to make sure that politicians play according to the rule. I think that is the key thing. Play according to the rule. There will be no cause for alarm. That's my take on this.
Sosiri Joabi-Peterside, the lecturer in University of Port Harcourt, speaking to us today from Abuja studios about the forthcoming Osun governorship elections.